Buddy, so I'm just waiting to see if anyone else is trying to get in. It looks like it's a little bit of a slow start. So we'll give everyone another minute to see if more people are coming in. All right, well, I guess we can go ahead and get started at least with some introductions. So if anyone comes in, they're not missing a whole lot. So welcome. Just to let you know, a few housekeeping items. We are recording this session. So don't worry if you're trying to, copy anything down from the presentation or make notes or pictures. This is all available for you to rewatch. And if you needed a copy of the slides for any reason, we're also happy to distribute those as well. So first with introductions, my name is Amy. If you have inquired anything on our Manchester campus, my name has been probably on everything you have seen. So I manage applications here in Worcester. In Manchester. If you have inquired about Worcester, you may have seen my colleague Julie's name on there. She's not with us tonight, but yes, she is your main contact for Worcester. With that, I'm also going to let my colleague Ryan introduce himself. He is representing our Boston campus, and then we'll have our students give a little introduction.
Yeah, hello. Welcome everybody. I'm Ryan. I work with our admissions team over on the Boston campus with really any of our pharmacy programs. So if you have any questions, definitely reach out. But I will pass it off to my right, Krishna, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. My name is Krishna. I'm a second year pharmacy student at the Worcester campus. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, so I'm international. If you guys have any questions about that, let me know.
Sure, do you want to go next? Oh, or Bridget?
Sorry, sure. So my name's Bridget. I'm a first year pharmacy student on the Worcester campus, and I'm from just about a half an hour away from Worcester in Harvard, Massachusetts.
All right, and my name is Dorothy Weber. I'm a second year student in the pharmacy program at the Worcester campus. I'm also an international student from Edmonton, Alberta.
Great, and thanks for joining us. So first of all, we're going to start off with, we're here at MCPHS. So I'm going to take a wild guess that we are interested in healthcare and health sciences. As you can see of all these lovely white coats you see on your screen, that is clinical sciences, especially pharmacy is kind of what we do. So just to let you know, we want questions. And so if you have live questions while we're presenting, that Q&A box is live. Please feel free to use it. You may see that we're waiting a minute to answer your question, probably because your question is going to be answered in upcoming slides, or one of us may directly answer you, or we'll say that we'll be answering that question aloud, maybe for the group. So if you don't hear an answer, as soon as you plug that in, don't worry. I promise that we will get to all of our questions. So with that, let's get started. So healthcare, this is where we want to be, right? Healthcare is on the rise. So this is a great field to be getting into. And when I say healthcare is on the rise, I'm not trying to hide pharmacy. Pharmacy is also on the rise. And I think Ryan could agree with me. We've had definitely an increase in applications on all three campuses this year. I have talked to colleagues at other schools that are pharmacy counselors. They are seeing the same. So we are starting to see these trends upward, and that's what we want, right? Pharmacists are growing, the industry is growing, different positions that pharmacists are doing are growing. So specifically, MCPHS is a great place to be with healthcare on the rise. So we offer 100 different programs regarding all of our three campuses. Students are working towards your professional degrees and really a lot terminal degrees, as we're talking about a PharmD. And the programs are here to get you going. So this isn't, I like to say to students, we're not just a pharmacy school. We're not just a PA school. We're not just a nursing school, but we are a school of health sciences. We are a school of healthcare. So we're really all in it together. So when you're on our campuses, You're going to be with other students of clinical programs. Those are the students you're going to have in class with you and in labs. So really, I like to say that everyone's in it for the same goal at the end, and is for treating their patients and successful healthcare. So you'll also learn about you're going to be learning about your other professions. So you get to learn a little bit more about what your peers do. And I mean, we do have some rankings here. So, and I also like to say when we get to the slide, if you've been to our website, you've probably seen a little bit of this, which is okay. My favorite thing on here, and it's something that I like to give when people ask me, oh, I'm going to go to grad school, you work in that area, what do you suggest? One thing I never asked when I was going to grad school that I regret was I never asked about return on investment. I didn't ask those questions of, where is this degree going to get me? I graduated in a time of, oh my God, I need a master's and I need it fast because everyone else is getting theirs. So this idea of being rated number 3 on return of investment is a big deal. So it's also something I suggest of you if you're applying to other schools and other programs. So we have 3 different campuses, which is great. And I like to say 3 different campuses of all the same goal, but 3 very different vibes on campus. So we do have our Boston location. So founded in 1823, that is where we started. We just celebrated our bicentennial. So first and foremost, that's where all of our undergraduate programs live, with a good handful of our grad programs. So we're right there in the Longwood area. It is a large undergraduate population. It's also a large medical population. We're right down the street from, Harvard Health. We're down the street from other universities. We're down the street from major hospitals. So a very much high energy city feel. That's how I like to say that is our large Boston campus. Then we're going to go about an hour west and we'll find our Worcester campus. So Worcester is right smack dab in the middle of the state of Massachusetts. So if you put a pin right in the middle, you will find us. We moved out and started a new campus in 2000. I will say that I am now old enough to say I remember what Worcester looked like before MCPHS got here. Let me tell you, it's very, very different, and very different for very positive ways. We invested a lot in the community. We have community clinics on campus. We're also surrounded by other health organizations. So I like to say that Worcester is more of a smaller version of Boston, right? We're still surrounded by major hospitals. We are still surrounded by research, but in a little bit of a smaller market, in a little bit of a smaller area. So then if we wanted to go a little north of Worcester, it usually takes me about an hour and 10 minutes. We have our Manchester, New Hampshire campus, and that is the baby of all 3. So if we're going to compare down, I like to say that Manchester is a little bit of a smaller version of Worcester. So we have a smaller campus. There's 4 programs up there. We did start in 2002. So early 2000s were a big renaissance period at MCPHS. Again, Elliott Hospital System is right down the road. So a lot of the same opportunities, but kind of different sizes and different feels to campus.
All right, and just to go over, the differences between the campuses and the programs offered, we'll start with the direct entry PharmD program on the Boston campus. So I think to highlight some of the differences here are, if you do need any pre-professional coursework, those core math and sciences, and you want to do them here at MCPHS, you would want our Boston campus for that, as that's where those courses are offered, as we mentioned. We also have the professional PharmD coursework as well. Ours is laid out in a more traditional 4-year professional program. We go for fall and spring semesters with summers off. So that's a little bit different than our accelerated campuses. And then also we do have an honors program specific to the PharmD program here on the Boston campus, which is again a little bit different. But we're, a good start for both freshmen and students transferring in to the professional phase, either with or without degrees. But I'll kick it back to Amy for the accelerated.
Okay, so we have direct entry in Boston, and then on Worcester and Manchester, we have the accelerated PharmD. So again, a difference between all three campuses, Worcester and Manchester are graduate programs only. So again, a little bit of a different feel, different campuses. So we're also offering this in an accelerated format. So we're talking just under 3 years. So 2 years didactic, 10 months of your advanced clinical rotations. So this is going to go by fast, and I'm sure students will be able to talk about that in a moment and how fast it's going by for them. But just to let you know kind of how that works, and sometimes people are asking, oh my God, how do I have time for clinicals? What am I going to do? You're going to come in your first year. It's going to be heavy in the classroom. So that's where I think of like highly accelerated, because you're taking a lot of courses, learning a lot of stuff in that first year. But then we do let you go out and work with the public. So we give you that. You get to go out and prove what you really worked so hard for that first year. Then we're going to take you back. We're going to teach you so much more. And then you're ready. That last 10 months, you are sailing on your advanced rotations. So even though it's accelerated, when I break it down, and I'm sure students will think about this, especially when they're graduating, it's kind of like you blink and now it's over. So once you're in it and you're roaring along, it's going pretty well. So this is professional entry only. So we do have some of our Boston students that maybe are on their undergrad path, and maybe they want to speed it up. So they have the opportunity to come to Worcester, Manchester. So with pharmacy being so big for us, there's lots of options, and there's, lots of options to kind of split it up, change your path. So lots to offer when it comes to pharmacy. So with that, I'm going to let me and Ryan take a little break on chatting, and we're going to make some students answer some frequently asked questions for us. So some of these questions will kind of maybe warm you up to start asking us some questions. So I'm going to start, Bridget, I'm going to start with you. So talk to us a little bit about IPE and what your experience has been with it so far.
So IPE is our interprofessional activities that we do with the students across all of the disciplines in the school. So I've had the opportunity to be involved in 2 of them so far, and I have one coming up on Friday. And we get to join and talk about what each of our specific career choices would do in a certain situation. So, for example, my first one, we met up with the occupational therapy students, the PA students, the physical therapy students. We had optometry, we had acupuncture, and we all got to go through several different scenarios and talk about what we would contribute to that healthcare scenario. So it was a really fun opportunity to learn a lot more about the other professions and kind of get to understand what it'll be like when we're working on a healthcare team in the future.
Great. And one thing also, not to scare anyone, you're not earning credits for these activities. You're not graded on these activities. You're not being judged on these activities. These are meant, we do require you to participate, but these are really meant for you to be going on to, I know I can expect anything when I walk through the door because I graduated from MCPHS, and they taught me in the state zone how I can deal with all of these other medical areas. So it is a great activity, but also I don't like to scare people. It's not extra work for you. So Dorothy, do you want to talk to us a little bit about clinical sites and your experience so far being in your second year?
Yes, I can talk about that. So far we've done the EPs, so introductory to pharmacy practice. So we haven't done the APs. Soon those will be coming up after the summer semester. So that will be the advanced pharmacy practice for the last 10 months. But so far the ones that I've done at the institution and the community pharmacy. So for the community pharmacy, I did mine at the Price Chopper. And it was a really good experience, just just seeing how like the community pharmacy side of it is, because I don't have experience coming into the pharmacy program. I didn't have that experience, so it was good to put everything that I've learned in my classes into perspective once I was in the field. And for the institution, I did mine at UMass, which is really nearby here. At the school, it's like only 10-minute, I believe 24-minute bus ride, so it's really close by. And that one was a really good experience because going in, I didn't know that it was possible for pharmacists to work in a hospital setting. So it was good to actually finally see that, okay, it is possible for pharmacists to actually work in a hospital setting. And I like one thing that really stuck with me when I was doing that rotation was I got to see how to observe a cath lab. So I observed like a patient getting 2 balloons and 2 stents put in them. So that really stuck with me, and I was like, you know what? If I wasn't really interested in community pharmacy, I would for sure go for clinical pharmacist as well. So it was a good experience.
Great, thank you, Dorothy. All right, Krishna, you're up next. You're taking my next question. Can you talk to us about organizations that students can be involved in on campus and maybe some that you may be involved in?
Yeah, definitely. So I think an overarching thing that especially pharmacy students notice at MCPHS is that they have so many different opportunities that we can be a part of. For example, there's APHA. I'm currently the chair of substance abuse disorders, and I've always had a passion for people who struggle with maybe prescription medications. So I just want to bring more awareness to that kind of topic, especially for our students who might not have experience with that. There's also IPHO, which is for the industry pharmacists. I have a really big passion for research. I love doing research, and especially for this Boston area. This coast is just really known for all of the research that we do in the medical field. A lot of pharmacists and even student pharmacists don't really know that pharmacists play a big role in research and industry in pretty much every step that it takes to bring a drug to market. So it's just kind of important to bring awareness for that. I am also the president at ASCP, which is the American Society of Consultant Pharmacists. We focus on patients who are geriatric or maybe need a little bit more care than others. Yeah, I've had a lot of great opportunities with that. All of us right here, Dorothy, Bridget, and I, we're also campus ambassadors, we're admission ambassadors. We just kind of aid Amy and Brian out just to, get our outreach out to other students. And there's always other opportunities going around campus.
I knew I picked the right person for this. I was like, I knew she's involved in everything, which is great. You'll also notice on our campuses, students get to get involved. So each campus has their own student organizations, has their own student government. So it's not, oh my God, you have 3 campuses and all these students who's fighting over things. So just know that there's lots and lots of opportunities to get involved. I'm going to let one of you pick who may want to talk about research opportunities, because I know I'm not sure out of the 3 of you if either one of you are doing it here, but we have a great research lab here in Worcester. There's always tons of research that's going on in Boston. So do you want to talk a little bit about that, or someone want to volunteer for that one? No, am I
I
getting
can
no one?
definitely start us off. I'm not sure about Dorothy and Bridget, but I think what I try to tell all students is that just talk to a professor who is saying something that kind of interests them. For example, in my first year, I talked to Dr. Timothy Ongst because he does a lot of research and outreach in digital healthcare. We do research on AI and healthcare currently, and I think that's a really big topic right now. Also, all students have the chance to participate in a concentration, which is no extra cost towards your your tuition, but you just kind of pick a line and you continue with it. For example, I'm in the cancer concentration, and we are working on low-grade ovarian cancer, which is the rare form of ovarian cancer. But yeah, I just want to tie it all back. Just everyone should reach out to a professor and that speaks on something that they're interested in.
That's great. And I always learn something new about one of our admission ambassadors. It's so great that you're into that. I love it. Bridget, I'm going to start with you, but I'm going to ask you all the golden question. Talk to us a little bit about why you chose MCPHS for your pharmacy school.
So a friend of mine actually had gone to MCPHS before I did, and she was in the nursing program, and she could not say enough how involved her professors were, and how much support she had from the school. So when I started looking into pharmacy schools, that was kind of top of my mind. And as I looked more into the pharmacy program specifically, I was able to see how dedicated the professors are. I was able to talk to an admissions ambassador myself when I was applying, and they talked about how the professors always have office hours. They're always like willing to help you. We do also have a really involved case, which is the Center for Academic Student Services. I think it's something like that. And they do tutoring that is included in tuition, so you don't have to pay anything extra. So if you are struggling in a class, you're able to get tutored by a student who recently took the class. So for all those reasons, that was one of the biggest draws for me.
Dorothy?
All right, like for me, what really interested me so I knew that I wanted to do pharmacy, and as I was just online like doing research, MCPH showed up, and Worcester was like one of the places that I looked at, and I saw that they're really, really heavily involved in healthcare setting, like they're really good at that. So I was like, okay, I know that's what I want to do. So as I did more research, I noticed, and as I talked to the admission office, I noticed that they're really, really involved in students and they really care, especially they're really close-knit environment, and it's a diverse school. So it has students from all over the world. So that's one thing that really attracted me to MCPH Worcester. And also, as I got to learn, I also realized that professors really do care about students. And since it's a small class size classroom, that means professors are more likely to be involved with students on a more intimate level, where you can get to learn and really get to know pharmacy very well.
Krishna, you're up next. By default, sorry, you're just in the line.
Yeah. I definitely agree with Bridget and Dorothy. Something else I just want to add, not just for the Worcester campus, but also for the Boston and the Manchester. We really benefit from the name because everyone who is a pharmacist or anyone who is in healthcare knows someone that went to MCP or knows someone that went to MCP. And it's just, especially for pharmacy is such a small world. You really want to benefit from the area you're in, given all the, healthcare professionals that are in the area, and just the generations of pharmacists that have graduated from this name. We can really benefit from the school that we're in.
I do want to just add on really quick to what Krishna was talking about. I have had the privilege of doing international admissions for a while, and even working at a different school. I have been to some different parts of this globe. They knew where MCPHS was. They knew that that was associated with pharmacy. I was in villages of India and I walked into a pharmacy and they knew what MCPHS was. And I was like, I worked for the school, then I didn't. And I was like, it's still following me everywhere I'm going, even if I'm going around the world. So it really does, even though pharmacy can be a small world, we are there all around the world. So just add to Krishna's point, I've even personally experienced it in places I thought I never would.
All right. And thank you to all the students for those answers. They were awesome. But let's move on a little bit about the application process and, kind of what that looks like to actually, get a decision and potentially come to MCPHS. So if you are looking for pre-professional entry to the Boston program, that one's pretty simple. So I'll just get that out of the way. You just apply right on our website. But for a lot of students that I think, might be at this info session, you may be looking at professional entry to regardless of our campuses. For professional entry, you will want to familiarize yourself with PharmCAS. All professional entry students to any of the 3 campuses need to fill one out. I will warn you now, if you are not sure which campus you want, we can only consider you for one campus at a time. So before hitting apply, definitely, reach out to admissions and make sure that you can, figure out which is the right fit, for the 3 campuses for you. But when you are filling out your PharmCAS application, you are going to need to submit a few things to them so that they can verify them and then send them on to us. You'll need to submit transcripts from any school you've attended. So if you have attended, 2 or 3 different colleges, you do need to submit transcripts from all of them to PharmCAS to be verified. If you have any international transcripts from, again, any colleges you might have attended outside of the US, those do need to be evaluated by Wes before you would send them into PharmCAS. That will allow us to, again, see the type of coursework you did over there, evaluate for potential prerequisite credit and things of that nature. We here at MCP require 1 letter of recommendation. You can absolutely submit more if you have, 2, 3, 4 that you want to submit. We will read them all, but just 1 is required. They can be professional letters of recommendation. They can be academic letters of recommendation. You could do 1 of each. Whatever you feel like would, show you in the best light. Awesome. But just 1 is required. You will need to write a personal statement. It's recommended to be about 500 to 1,000 words. The prompt is on PharmCAS, so you'll see that when you start filling out the application, but it's primarily centered around why you're interested in pursuing pharmacy. And then just a couple other quick notes. So if you have graduated from a school outside of the US and, it may be taught in a different language other than English, if English is not your first language, we may need proof of English language proficiency through a variety of different exams that we accept, some being, maybe you've heard of TOEFL, Duolingo, things of that nature. But if you have any questions, if you would need one, again, just reach out to admissions and we can go over your specific scenario. And then one other hopefully nice thing is that we do not require the PCAT. So if you're worried about that, again, we don't require it. We really don't need to look at that. All right. So some other things about the admissions details that you should really know, and maybe to go over what would really stand out on your application. So we are rolling admissions. So for this upcoming fall 2025, the deadline to apply is June 2nd. It is typically the very beginning of June. So if you are looking towards like fall 2026 or anything like that, it's around the same time every year. I do recommend applying sooner than later. Typically, the earlier that you apply, 1, it ensures that we still have space available, and 2, typically the merit scholarships, which we'll talk about, are stronger earlier in the process as well. So if you're thinking about applying for fall 2025, there's no better time to do it than now. But again, to understand better what you can submit, we'll go over a little bit more in depth the things that you should have on your application. So again, for competitive applications, we do look at GPAs. It's not the only thing we look at, but it's certainly a part of it. We look at your overall GPA, your science GPA, and your prerequisite GPA. I think doing well in those prerequisite courses that are really foundational towards your success in the program, is something that is important. So doing well in those courses is very, very helpful. We do also look at your interests, your experiences, your motivation for pursuing pharmacy. That may first reflect in your personal statement and the experiences that you list. If you have, pharmacy and or healthcare experience already, those are important things to write down on your application as well. This will also shine through in your interview if you're invited, which I'll go over to now. We do interviews based on an invite-only system. Here in Boston, they are virtual only at this time. If I'm not mistaken, Amy, I think the Worcester, Manchester offer primarily virtual, but do have some in-person offerings if you prefer.
Yes, usually 1 or 2 a semester. So far, that's been about the need for it, but we can always add more if someone wants it.
Thank you, appreciate that. But again, we found that, overall virtual is very convenient for the students, especially coming from out of state and out of the Northeast sometimes. So we always offer those. And then on our Boston campus, we do require a writing sample. Again, that's something that you'll get instructions to when you're invited to interview. On our Worcester, Manchester campus, we actually do not require a writing sample any longer. But again, you'll get all the instructions of what you do need to do to prepare for the interview, regardless of campus when you're invited. And then as far as prerequisites go, I know this is a huge question of trying to figure out if you're ready to apply or not. If you are finishing up your prerequisites and you think you will be done by this summer, great. You do not want to wait till this summer to apply. You want to apply now. You can still have prerequisites, in progress. So that's, the first question that I always get. But again, if you think you're going to be done this summer, apply now for fall 2025. Each campus has a little bit of a different prerequisite list, very, very similar, but you will want to make sure to look at the Boston prerequisite list if that's the campus that you're after. Worcester, Manchester, again, it's a couple slight differences, so just make sure to either check on the website or ask one of the admissions counselors. But again, it's heavily based in math and science, especially science. You'll notice that these math and science courses have a 10-year expiration. So if any of your math and sciences are older than 10 years old, you will want to check in with the admissions team. It's possible that we could try and request a waiver in some instances, especially if they're, maybe just over the 10-year expiration. But sometimes they will need to be redone if they are expired. So that's kind of more of a case-by-case basis if you have any expired credits. Any of the non-math and science prereqs do not expire, so that's good. And then as far as grades go, we require a C or higher for any prerequisites to count, meaning a C or a C plus, those would be good. A C minus or below, those would be something that, again, you would likely need to retake. Again, if you have any specific prereqs, maybe you're unsure if a specific course would count because it's listed a little differently from where you took it. Again, just reach out to your admissions counselor and we're always happy to confirm for you. Okay, the other big part of you applying and figuring out if MCPHS might be a good fit for you is financials, of course. So to start with, under financial aid, all applicants are considered for a merit scholarship award at the time of their decision. You do not have to fill anything out specifically for that. When we review to see if you would be, eligible for an acceptance or not, we are also reviewing for your, merit-based scholarships. So you should receive those at the same time as your decision. These are renewable merit scholarships typically, so that's something that would follow you throughout the program, which is awesome. That's not the case with all graduate programs, and even not the case with all of our graduate programs, but for PharmD it is. So hopefully that's a helpful start at financing your education, but there are certainly other things that you will want to do as well. If you are eligible to fill out a FAFSA for primarily domestic students, you will want to do so. FAFSA is an important piece of the financial picture. Filling out a FAFSA, adding our school code, and making sure that's done in a timely manner. It's open for next year already. So again, if you're thinking about coming next year, great time to fill out your FAFSA. That's really important, again, understanding, additional federal aid that might be available to you. I know, sometimes MCP even views that for additional, need-based grants and things of that nature through the school. So again, FAFSA is always important to fill out if you're eligible. And then ultimately, if you're looking at it and saying, I understand what tuition is and my scholarship and FAFSA, but I'm just really having trouble to piece together how the financial picture works for me, reach out to us. We do, as you'll see on the screen, what are called affordability appointments, where we break this down with you and go over, again, the costs after all of your scholarship and aid, what it really looks like for you. We can go over more in depth, things like payment plans, different loan options, whatever you have questions on. We're happy to kind of walk you through this process, as I know it's not something that the students do every day, but it is something that, we here in higher education do work with every day. So let us know if we can assist you, and get you more information on that at all.
Great. I do want to remind everyone that the question and answer box is live. It's open. So please feel free. Any questions at this point, feel free to load them in there. We're happy to answer them. We have campus tours. We have visit days. We have virtual appointments. We have ways that you can talk to students. We have ways that you can talk to faculty. So please use these contact information. Honestly, if you contacted either one of us, we would be happy to answer your questions or put you in touch with the right person. So anything that you guys, everyone out here may need, please let us know, whether it's Worcester with Julie, Ryan in Boston, or myself with Manchester. We're always happy to help you through the process, especially if it's been a little while since you have been in school. Sometimes do you need a couple, a little extra help there. I know I did when I was going back to grad school. So I do have a comment in here. I think it was a comment based on a previous question I answered, so I may answer that privately. But I do have a couple questions maybe as you guys are thinking about it. This is one I really love to ask you students. So if you're thinking back now when you were in the seat, you were doing your webinars, you were starting your application process. Now we're looking at already a full year under your belts. What do you know now that you wish you knew going into pharmacy school that could help someone that is going to go into pharmacy school? Krishna, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, sure thing. So I usually tell people that I was really in their spot around 2 years ago, and I was hearing the students say that they felt truly busy. You don't really realize how busy you'll be until you get here. Just everything moves very quick. There's exams every week, but you should always know that there's been so many other students before you. There's so many resources for you. Just as Bridget said, tutors are always there to help you. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Krishna because you don't realize it until you're in it because you hear it from other students. You're like, yeah, it's not that bad. Until you reach here, you're like, okay, it is busy. But I would say like it is busy, but at the same time, it's doable because even if they're saying, okay, it's exams every week, you just have to realize that they're there in the moment and they've done it. So I can also do it. Like it's possible. If they can do it, why can't I do it? Like it's also possible for you. And I would just say to help you also along the way is just to stay like organized and develop like a strong management skills because that really does go a long way. Once you know your schedule and you know how to manage your time, the rest it's easy after that. I would say it's just all about time management and really being disciplined. Like if you set time to study, make sure you study. And then if you set time to relax, make sure you relax because you also need that good balance between relaxing and doing work because you need to be balanced overall to get through the program because after all of it's really easy. I wouldn't say easy, but I would say that it's doable once you've really developed those time management skills.
Yeah, and I would say adding on to that too, like my biggest piece of advice is to make sure that you're always getting a full night's sleep, like I know like every once in a while, you might not get that full night's sleep if you have like a really big exam, but like I feel like the days that I decide to just stop studying and get the full sleep, I do better than I would if I had just stayed up studying and not gotten my full night's sleep. Like it is so important, especially when you're like under stress like you are in like a fast program like this, like prioritizing that and just like mental health and making sure like you're taking a step back and taking care of yourself during the program.
All really, really good advice. So even though I know you, all three of you were so prepared to come to pharmacy school, everything was great, shining stars here, and you were so prepared, but when you got here, what were you not prepared for, or what was your biggest surprise that you didn't think of before you came to pharmacy school? Dorothy, I'm gonna pick on you for this one.
Sure, no problem. I would say like going from what I said earlier, like I came in thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna learn community pharmacy, like like what pharmacists do over like the counter. When you walk into a pharmacy, what do you see? That's what I thought I'm gonna learn. But I wasn't prepared to learn about other disciplines of pharmacy. So learning how like pharmacists are actually involved in direct patient care and clinical decision making was very interesting to me. And it's something that I came in without thinking that I'm going to learn. So that's one thing that I would say was for sure like a surprise, but not a bad surprise, a good surprise, because I was happy to know that there's actually other disciplines of pharmacy that I can actually go into if I want. So having those options were a good thing for me to realize and actually learn about. So I was happy about that.
So I'm going to ask a question to all three of you, and this is also giving another minute in case we have any questions from the audience. So we talked about, coming in and being prepared. What would we do differently? When it came time for your interview, what would be your tip after you have gone through the interview process for someone to be prepared for their interview? Anyone who wants to start can.
I can start. My tip would be to like ask, because each professor of pharmacy has a different specialization, like what they specialize in. So just for you to know more about like pharmacy, I would say like show interest in what they specialize in. So for example, if they work in a, because and also another thing is our professors, like, they do also have to also have a practice as well as teach. So each professor has a practice that they work at. So it's good to show interest in that and ask them, and ask about their day, how it is to work, for example, to work as a clinical pharmacist, and what they do day to day, or they can also be involved in industry, or like earlier what Krishna said about Dr. Timothy Angst, like how he's involved in digital health. I think it's also good to also ask him about that, how it is. And even if you're not interested in it, I feel like it's also a good way to learn a different side of pharmacy, and it will also show that you're interested and you're enthusiastic about learning other types of pharmacy apart from the one that you're initially going to pharmacy school for.
I definitely agree. I was nervous going into my interview because I didn't have any pharmacy specific work experience. But I think as long as you really have a good understanding of like your why, like why are you applying to be a pharmacist and why are you applying to MCPHS, then I think like really as long as you've got that ironed out, you're in a good spot. You don't want to be like apathetic about MCPHS or apathetic about the career. Like you really want to show like why you are choosing it. And I think if that comes across, like you're gonna be good.
Yeah, I agree. Something I like to do before all of my interviews, sometimes I find myself a little bit in the spot and I might forget things that I wanted to point out originally. So I like to take maybe 30 minutes just before the interview, just jotting down all the key points that I want to highlight about myself, or, something that I really wanted to bring up, or maybe questions that I have beforehand, just so that I have them in my head, maybe right in front of your laptop or your computer, just so you have it right here. for the interview that you're prepared for.
Great, thank you. Ryan, I'm not sure of the next event that's being held in Boston, but I do want to mention that we do have events in Worcester and Manchester coming up. So we'll have a visit day for Worcester. It'll be Saturday, March 29th. And for the Manchester campus, it'll be Saturday, April 5th. So this is a Saturday format, so it might be a little bit easier to attend rather than a weeknight. But just know under that visit tab, we have lots and lots of options to connect and even e-visit through lots of YouTube videos.
Yeah, no, good to point out. Here in Boston, I would say, a lot of our students, they just book kind of an individual, tour and counselor appointment. We run those every weekday. But for weekend events, I believe we have an open house coming up. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but in April, if you do go
And
to
I know it's like in spring, but I was like, I don't know when.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but I believe it's maybe a little bit later in April on the weekend. If you're looking for a weekend event, we have an open house. So that will be on the visit tab if you visit the website, and you can see the exact date. But yeah, we're always, hosting students to come tour and meet, us here at admissions, sit down with us, pretty much any day. So always, visit that link and definitely sign up and come see us.
I don't see any more questions coming in the Q&A. But again, please reach out to us, even if you maybe just didn't want to ask your question live on here, that's fine. That's what we're here for. We're happy to jump on Zoom, jump on phone, jump on email, jump on text, whatever's easier for you. We are happy to work with you on that. All right. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, students. And we look forward to working with all of you.
All right, thank you as well.